This is Latrice.
Latrice, this is Deanna with the transfer. I have a confirmed address of...
I need a fire truck.
Okay.
Somebody...
Hello, caller?
And threw my car, put this car on fire and ran behind my house.
Hello, caller?
But they got it.
Hello, ma'am. Okay, tell me exactly what's going on.
Somebody put my car on fire. We heard a big boom. And when my son looked out his window, somebody was running, but they threw something on the car and put it on fire. The car is getting ready to blow up.
Okay.
I can't get one of my other cars out the way because it's too close to the battery must have just died on it. But my husband and son ran after the boy, and he shot at them with a gun. So they ran back to the house. I need a police, and I need a fire truck now. This car is getting ready to blow up. It's on fire.
Okay, ma'am, step away from the car. Help is coming as fast as they can. I understand. Help is coming as fast as they can.
I need to get out the house, probably. Y'all be fucking need to get out the house. Because I can't open this car. Daddy's dead. That shit is traveling to the back. Where the fire extinguisher? Plus that no sign. I don't know. Where the fuck the fire extinguisher go? SBO, yes we do. It do work. Where the hell is it at? Sit down. As a matter of fact, get up and go upstairs now. Upstairs. In the room.
Okay, are you at this location now?
What the fuck upstairs? Hello?
Are you at this location now?
Yes, that's where I'm at.
Okay. Is the vehicle inside a building?
No, the vehicle is in front of my house, but it's close to one of my other cars that I can't move, and it's in my garage.
Okay, what type of vehicle is on fire?
It's a black Mitsubishi, and it's actually a red car. And this is fucking the crazy part.
Okay, is the fire threatening anything?
What?
Is the fire threatening anything?
I just said it's parked very close to another car that's closer to my house, to my daughter's car. My daughter's car, I can't even move because she must have left her door or something or light on because the battery is dead, which it wasn't even dead. I can't find my fire extinguisher. Oh my God, somebody must have freaking moved it.
Okay, is anyone trapped?
No, nobody is trapped. But I'm scared this car is going to blow up and everybody's in my house. And it's close to another car in my garage.
Okay.
The damn fire, why they not coming? They right down the street.
Okay, ma'am, they're coming as fast as they can. I need you to calm down and answer these questions. Just to confirm, you said someone shot?
Yes, my son, we all heard the boom. It was a loud boom. I was like, what the hell was that? It woke me up out of my sleep. But my son was woke because he do a lot of work at night with his computer. And so he was like, Dad, somebody just threw something on the car. It's on fire. He said they ran out back. So we all jumped up and go running outside. They was chasing somebody with a black hoodie on. And next thing I know, we heard some guns. I heard a noise, but
not sure if the location because you're yelling.
Right.
Ma'am, do you know how many suspects there were?
My son said it was only one. What is this shit? My son said it was only one with a black hoodie on.
Okay. Was it a male or a female?
Right?
Was it a male or a female suspect that did this?
They don't know. They said it's somebody with a black hoodie on. I don't know if it's a blue jeans and a black hoodie. Okay. They don't know if it's a male or female. I don't know.
Okay, which direction?
Where's that damn fire extinguisher?
Which direction?
He said it looked like a male. Do you want me to pass the phone? Because I don't know about the suspect. They was running behind him.
Okay, all right. I need suspect information. I need to know where he went.
Listen, we are fucking fire truck. I ain't got no damn fucking business right now. I'm trying to get in a fucking fire truck. If this shit goes off and my fucking kid, my goddamn grandkids in the damn house.
They're already on the way.
Fire station is right down the street. Why are they not here? How many damn bitches on the wall? Like, really?
Ma'am,
Why is taking so long? Why are others that fire extinguishers? I just see all this shit in this house, in this damn garage. That's what I'm trying to say. Everybody down the street. Really?
Do you know what kind of vehicle the suspects were in?
No, I just told you. I just told y'all that my son and my husband chased the people, chased the guy or whatever. So I don't know if he was in a suspect when they turned around and started shooting at them. I'm quite sure they didn't see what kind of car they was in. I don't think they was in no car. They was running. They were running. Where the hell did that fire this shit was sitting here? Oh,
ma'am, are you guys out of the house? Hello, ma'am, are you guys out of the house?
You're crazy. We can't move it. Why the fuck is that? Get the meat and put them in the...
Ma'am, are you guys away from the house in the car?
The fire people right.
They're coming as fast as they can, ma'am.
No, put his ass up. He's getting on my nerves. I cannot find this damn fire extinguisher.
Okay, ma'am, do not try to put it out. They're coming.
Well, what the hell? They didn't saw the fucking thing ain't number 2 miles from my house. I could have walked there by now. I walk to that goddamn park every day, and I would have been there now. So what is taking them so long? No, there's the right address. What is it? They go pause. Y'all are jackasses. Put it here. Can't nobody find it. I said, every hour. I'm going to tell you now. Right now, all the time, I need to shut the hell up.
Okay, are they there?
Where? The fire truck? Hell no. Where they at? The fire truck outside. They told me they was outside.
Okay, ma'am, are you guys still in the house?
Yes.
Okay, I need you guys to step outside of the house, away from the car.
Then we just told you somebody was shooting at us. Now you want us to get the fuck outside. Are y'all fucking serious? Where the fuck is the police on a fucking fire truck? I mean, are y'all serious?
Ma'am, you're at... Okay, in what city?
I'm in fucking Florida. The state that I called. Y'all now let me go to another dispatch. Y'all go to another state when you get a call. Of course I'm in Florida.
Ma'am, the city.
Kissimmee. I'm in Polk County side.
Yes. We have the right address. They are coming.
listen, ain't nobody coming because I don't hear no goddamn siren. And I am too fucking loud from the fire station. I can hear it normally when they come out.
Okay. Ma'am, does the vehicle use alternative fuel? Yes. Hello, ma'am.
Oh my gosh, where the fuck did they die at the wrong house? It's only one back block. This is crazy. I'm fucking pissed the fuck off. How are they at the wrong house? 21 oh, they at the wrong street. They at the
Okay, ma'am, you said
they in the right street. Did you grab the keys out the car? So you know the keys in the seat when you got out? I'm so ready. I left them in the rubber sheet. Go ahead. What do I need them for? That's just the police that ain't even a fire shot. I got a fucking fire. Where's the fucking fire shot?
Ma'am, the fire truck will be there after we find the person that was trying to shoot at your family.
I'm in a fucking fire truck.
The area.
My God, I know the fucking other car in the house. What the hell is up with the fire truck? This ain't nothing. It does not matter. I need a fire truck. Somebody was in a fire truck. Oh my gosh. I told them that should have cost you my second car that I can't move because the battery just died.
Are the deputies there with you?
Some random person showed up and threw something on the car that started a fire when my son and my husband ran out there because my son was broke and we all I heard a phone and the police is here. I don't need you anymore.
On April 19th, Michael Williams pleaded guilty to burning up a car in Florida. Inner City Press live tweeted it here. Guilty plea of Michael Williams, charged with witness tampering to influence, delay, and prevent the testimony of Jane Doe and U.S. versus Robert Sylvester Kelly before the Eastern District, New York, Judge Donnelly. Judge Donnelly, I understand you have a plea agreement. Is that your signature? Williams, yes ma'am. Judge Donnelly, I will not be able to determine what the sentencing guidelines are until after the pre-sentencing report. Do you understand? Williams, yes ma'am. Assistant U.S. Attorney, this offense, level 23, criminal history 3, the guideline is 57 to 71 months. However, the mandatory minimum is 60 months, so really it's 60 to 71 months. Judge Donnelly, how do you plead? Williams, guilty. Judge Donnelly, what did you do? Williams, I drove to Kissimmee, Florida, and set someone's car on fire in their driveway. Judge Donnelly, was it your purpose to damage the car? Williams, yes. Assistant USA Attorney. He used Enterprise Rent-A-Car and Interstate Commerce. Judge Donnelly. I accept the plea. Sentencing October 5th at 11 a.m. Court is adjourned. You just heard me read the guilty plea, which is essentially a plea agreement for Michael Williams. Now, this is going to have implications for Rkelly. And before I get into this, I know that typically when I go over material like this, what happens is that, some of the Rkelly supporters, they come out and they essentially say this is too negative. I myself, I do support Rkelly, and I've said it over and over and over. I think Rkelly is getting the raw deal. Number one, he's essentially being retried for a case he's already beat. And then number two, he's being persecuted in social media. And I think no person should be persecuted in social media. If they're doing this to Rkelly, they'll do it to you. They'll drag your name through social media. And then once they build up enough support, they'll move forward, and then they'll have a trial, right? And I think there's a lot wrong with this. So I've always supported Rkelly. I don't condone assault, and I don't condone abuse. So now that that's out there, let's go ahead and just continue on. Now, it's important that we pay attention to what's actually happening. We just can't stick our heads in the sand and say, oh, this is too negative. Oh, we shouldn't be talking about this because it's just too negative. It's just too depressing. You can't do this. You have to acknowledge the challenges that you have before you. If you're in Rkelly's shoes, you can't just say, oh, this is negative, I'm going to ignore it. Because if you do that, you're not going to be prepared for it when it comes down to trial. And the reason I post this type of information is because, number one, I think the Rkelly supporters should have an honest conversation, and they should all be thinking of ways of how to overcome things like this. And then, most importantly, I want to have an honest conversation about law. My channel is not really the Rkelly's channel. I do support Rkelly, but my channel is really just about law, and that's what I talk about on my channel is law. And there are people out there who have absolutely no stake and probably don't care one way or other whether or not Rkelly is innocent or guilty. So this is an opportunity to talk about, legal issues and, challenges that one may have in a RICO charge, right? So that's what this is all about. So with that said, I have right before me the original indictment for Michael Williams, and basically I'm going to show you how this indictment is very important, because what they're going to do is, everybody knows what they're going to do. It's not rocket science. What they're going to do is that they're going to try to charge the three individuals into the RICO charge. And again, the three individuals are Richard Arline Jr., Michael Williams, Don Russell. Now, they already have Richard Arline Jr. They just got Michael Williams. I don't think they're going to get Don Russell, but I don't think it's going to matter if they get Don Russell or not, because if you think about it, they already have 2 out of 3, right? And since they already have 2 out of 3, I think they're still going to try to attempt to drag Don Russell into it anyway and make that connection. Now, just so you know, I have covered all 3 of these individuals on my YouTube channel. There's a section, or there's one video where I talk about all 3 of them, and I'll see if I can find that video and add it as a link above. I'm not sure that it's going to be there, so I'm not promising anything, but I know I have a video. I just can't remember the title of the video. But long story short, I don't know exactly how they're going to tie in Richard Arline Jr., but I think they've already tied in Michael Williams to the RICO lawsuit, and that's what I want to show you now, so we can all have a conversation on how this thing can be overcome. So if I scroll down here, let's see here. I think I have it highlighted. Okay, here we go. It goes, on about December 20th, 2019, Williams accompanied an individual whose identity is known as the affiant I-1 to a voluntary interview with the federal agents. So Williams and affiant I-1 went to the federal agents, including the affiant. Williams himself was not interviewed and did not attend the interview with I-1. I don't understand that. So he accompanied her, but he didn't attend the interview. So, maybe I'm thinking maybe they all went down to the government's office or the prosecutor's office or whatever agent's office, and maybe Williams waited outside. I don't know. But it goes on and it says Jane Doe's father, the father, provided to law enforcement screenshots of text messages that he indicated were between the father and I-1. The text messages document a combative relationship between the father and I-1, and in several of the messages, they accuse each other of slander, him and her. The screenshots also include a text messages purportedly from I-1 that warns the father. And it goes, "It might be wise for you to protect your daughter from heartache. She's going to endure through this and after. She had to live with every stain you guys created publicly. Getting angry and lashing out on live, making threats, having her drop videos talking about honestly doesn't look good. It's just getting an ignorant fight that should have never been started to begin with. I know you don't care about even the media personalities and the productions who were rooting for nickname for Jane Doe are starting to say that they view her different based on her actions and her words. So even in the event that the truth you say is coming, being exposed, it still won't have anything to do with how they view your daughter. Y'all may want to think about that because right now you got her out here looking crazy." And then it goes on, it says, "Based on my participation in this investigation, I know that Jane Doe has maintained a presence on social media, including on Instagram Live and posting videos on social media in which she publicly has discussed how Rkelly physically and mentally abused her during their relationship." And then it goes on. And this is the important part. Then it goes, they allege that the defendant, Michael Williams, is a family member of I-1. I-1 once served as a publicist for Kelly. So right here, they're already attempting to make the connection between Rkelly and Michael Williams. So now I'm just going to play devil's advocate. Don't get mad at me. What I believe the prosecutors are going to go into court and say is they're going to say, or they're going to allege that affiant I-1 has told or directed Michael Williams to burn Jane Doe's car. And we already know who Jane Doe is, and for the most part, it's going to be obvious when I finish making this video, right? So that's what they're going to say. They're going to say that I allege, right? I allege that they're going to allege that they're going to say that affiant I-1 told Michael Williams or directed Michael Williams to burn the car on behalf of Rkelly. And they're probably going to try to establish some recent communication between affiant I-1 and Rkelly. Now, they may not have a actual conversation. What they're going to do is they're going to try to use phone records. They're going to try to use visiting logs, things of that nature, to try to say that affiant I-1 was directed by Kelly, and then affiant I-1 directed Michael Williams. That is what they're going to try to do, right? Now, of course, I don't believe that Rkelly would have affiant I-1 to go and do something like this, and I don't believe Rkelly would ever think about trying to use intimidation tactics like this. I believe that a lot of people love Rkelly, and I believe that people are coming out trying to defend Rkelly, which makes this situation worse. And I've already made several videos warning people. Now, that video link I'll put above, but I made videos warning people not to attack the alleged victims, because when you attack them, number one, you're going to set yourself up to essentially be charged, right? And then number two, they're going to come out and say, hey, these are Rkelly followers. R. Kelly is directing him to these people to do this, and basically because of that, we need to protect the alleged victims and the witnesses, so on and so forth. And that's already played out, so we don't really need to rehash all that again. But I will try to link the video above. And unfortunately, that's kind of how things have flowed. Now, what I really believe has happened here in this story, right? Because a lot of times these lawsuits, they tell a story, and when you read this, I believe that the best defense is to say, hey, R. Kelly had nothing to do with any of this, and there's no recent phone conversations, there's no recent visiting logs between R. Kelly and Affiant I1, and all this is, and you can clearly see that Affiant I1 and Jane Doe's father were basically going at it at each other. They basically had a feud, and words were exchanged between these two in that feud. And because they basically hated each other, or they basically, I allege, right? I allege that they basically were fighting, that the car was burned as a result of that fighting, right? Because what we're seeing here is kind of a snippet of probably what actually happened, right? So we don't have all the words that were exchanged between Affiant I1 and Jane Doe's father. We already know who that is, but we don't have the full conversation of what they said to each other. And you guys already know how things get on social media, and people are threatening each other on social media to literally show up at each other's house and beat each other in the head with a baseball threat. Under normal circumstances, that is basically a threat. So I don't doubt that more than just this was said on both sides. I would believe, based on this conversation, that things just got heated between Affiant I1 and Michael Williams and Jane Doe's father. They had a heated debate. That debate turned into a fight. That fight turned into a feud. And as a result of that, it looks like Michael Williams took it too far. That's my take on this. What's your take on this, right? How would you describe, or what would be your defense if you were R. Kelly? What would you say if you're R. Kelly's lawyer and you're going in to basically defend R. Kelly? What would you say to the jurors? Because at the end of the day, this is what's going to be presented to the jurors, and jurors are going to be far different from the judge. The judge is going, in my opinion, the judge, sometimes you get lucky and you get these judges who've already made a decision that the defendant is guilty, and it doesn't really matter what you say, right? Hopefully you get jurors who are open-minded, but jurors are everyday people, so you're going to have to appeal to a normal person. I hope, hopefully the jury isn't rigged, and you just get average everyday Joe Blows. And when you have stuff like that, they're going to use their common sense. And I think a common sense argument is that was between Affiant I1, Jane Doe's father, and Michael Williams. You can clearly see from this exchange in paragraph 6 that there was some type of altercation between those guys. And for whatever reason, Michael Williams has already pled guilty. And for whatever reason, they had things got out of control, and Michael Williams lost his head, and or Affiant I1 lost their head, and they conspired. I would allege this, right? I have no idea if any of this stuff happens, but for me, from reading this, I deduce that this is what happened, that they got crazy, it got blown out of proportion, and basically, Affiant I1, I allege that Affiant I1 and Michael Williams decided they were going to get revenge on based on the things that were said, and they burned the car up, right? And you can clearly see that by reading this paragraph, and in my opinion, this paragraph isn't an outright threat, but in my opinion, you can tell that there's some heat there, right? And again, you don't know exactly what was said between the three of those guys, right? Or the four of those guys, right? Because you have Affian I-1, you have Michael Williams, you have Jane Doe, and you have Jane Doe's father. We don't know what was said between those guys. If you have social media fights between these four, definitely post links to those down below so we can all get a better understanding. But again, it just seems like they had a fight amongst themselves. Rkelly had absolutely nothing to do with this, and as a result, someone got crazy, Michael Williams, and he wouldn't burn the car, right? That's how I would pitch this, and then I would ask questions of all four of them to basically prove that it was just between the four of them, right? Now, here's a tricky part, though. Here is the tricky part. I think that I wonder why Affiant I-1 went down with the federal agents and did an interview. First off, who is Affiant I-1? Like, that person, I think I know who it is, but because I'm not sure who it is, I'm not going to say who it is. So leave the comments below if you know who Affiant I-1 is. I think it is a certain person because I heard someone else tie those two together on social media, actually on a YouTube video, and they said Affiant, well, they didn't say Affiant I-1 was this person, but they said that this person used to be Rkelly's former, what was it? How did it refer to her in this indictment? Yeah, they said Affiant I-1 was Rkelly's former publicist, and I actually watched a video where they talked about someone being a publicist for Rkelly, and I think it wasn't Darrell Johnson, right? Apparently Rkelly allegedly had another publicist before Darrell Johnson, but that publicist didn't handle Rkelly's affairs once all this stuff started. I think this person was a publicist before any of this stuff happened, right? And they allege that here, right? So I think I know who Affiant I-1 is. If you guys know or you have evidence, please post the comments below or post the evidence below, because everybody wants to know. I myself, like I said, I've heard things said on social media, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to be reckless and just throw a name out there. But we all already know who Jane Doe is, and we already know who the father of Jane Doe is, right? So that's without a question, right? So yeah, I mean, that's how I see all this. So that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Let me know how you guys would try to defend Rkelly. Do you think my defense is a pretty good defense, which is to say, hey, you know what? These two were fighting amongst themselves, and it looks like to me it got out of hand, has nothing to do with Rkelly, and there's no visiting logs, there's no phone records to prove that Rkelly had any conversations with Affiant I-1 before any of this stuff happened. And you can clearly see, that Affiant I-1 was a former manager, and she's no longer Rkelly's manager, and they haven't had contact in over 2 years, right? I don't know when they had contact, but hopefully it would be around that time frame, right? And I would just say, hey, that was between those four. They let that stuff get out of hand. That's between them. Nothing to do with Rkelly. Do you think that argument plays? Do you have a better argument? Also, let me know if you think they're going to be able to use this to tie everything into the RICO charge, right? That's it for this video. Leave your questions and comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe.